Welcome to the Power Words. I'm Michelle Murad. I am not Deborah Sawaf, but I'm stepping in for her because President Biden is in town, and as you know, in Los Angeles, that means all roads are shut down. So I'm so happy to be sitting here. What I love about the Power Words is not only is it shining a light on mental health, but it's also the power of our words, what they mean and what we say. I have the lovely Fatou with me. How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here, and so thrilled to be sitting across from somebody so beautiful as you. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with the power of words, and what brings you here today.
Well, I came all the way from France.
Wow.
And well, what do? I guess what I would say is I'm striving for more equity around the world. So a more equitable world where everybody has its place, everybody can thrive. So I have a consulting firm.
Wow.
Helping companies be more inclusive, build a new culture that is more inclusive. And at the same time, I have a TV show.
Tell me about that. Tell me about your TV show.
So it's all about diversity and inclusion because I travel the world to see amazing artisans, amazing designers who are keeping their heritage alive and trying to, preserve their culture, their craftsmanship, and I'm showcasing all that on a French TV channel.
That's amazing. I have to ask you, did you know as a little person, like when you were little, that this is something that you wanted to get involved with?
Well, as a child, I always loved fashion. I remember being like 7 or 8, and we used to have a sewing machine at home, and my aunt used to come every Wednesday and teach me how to use it. So I would just sew all the clothes for my Barbies.
Oh!
I know.
I love that.
And funny enough, I was already in the sustainable world because I used to upcycle like old curtains, old things at home to make the clothes.
Wow, that's incredible. At 7 years old, you are making and designing clothes and sustainability, like just by using something around your house. I'm sure your family wasn't too thrilled with that. Like all of a sudden there's like a dress form outside of like the curtain or something.
Exactly. That sounds like me. Yep.
That sounds like you. I love that. I love that you're doing that right now. One of the things that Deb. Oh. Sewing my doll's clothes. I didn't know that.
Same.
Wow. Wow. So I'm gonna tell the audience I've got the lovely Deborah Sawaf on the phone. Deb was saying, Deb, do you want to say that one more time so that our the people watching the show can hear that?
I said that is where Fatou and I are so parallel. When I was little, I was told that I never wore a dress to church twice. So I never wore a dress twice. My mother would sew me a dress every Sunday since I was a little girl. And so I would take the leftover fabric and make my doll.
I love it.
We didn't have Barbies then, but make my doll a matching dress with the fabric that was left over from what my mom was making me. So I just thought that was funny that, that Fatou started the same way.
I do believe when we're very small, when we're children, we do know what it is that we want to do in this world in our lifetime. And when I was little, I used to have my own talk show in my parents' basement.
That's crazy.
Called The Michelle Show. And then I would take my Barbies and then I would write little scripts for them. And I would film the Barbies like having their own show.
Amazing.
So it's funny how we know when we're super little. When you think of the power of words, and you know that there are 7 different words and their colors and bands, what's the word that speaks to you the most today?
There's one that I absolutely love.
What's that?
It's magic.
Oh, well, you are magic. Just sitting across from you, you have magical vibes. Why magic?
I feel like we all have magic in us, and our goal in life is to find it, to recognize it, to value it, and to share it with the world. And that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
I do a lot of talking, public speaking, conferences where I tell people you have to be bold.
Yeah.
Live your life boldly. And actually, when I talk about being bold, it's just about being magic and knowing that you are magic and living through that. Yeah. So I think that's why that word really resonates with me. But also the other 6 are very, for me, they're part of my life, like resilience.
Yes.
I had so many failures in my life, but that's okay. It's life,
Yeah.
you learn from them, and compassion and empathy. Like for me, they all talk to me, but magic has a special place in my heart.
I love the way you said magic too. You just lit up. You're like, magic. I do think it's really cool, especially when I see Deb sit in this chair. I always say, you are magic. You are magic as she sits there, as she sits in this chair, because I believe that the power of our words, it's not just about you and me or Deborah, like whoever. It's so much bigger than us, right?
Okay.
Words have magic, and I think that this whole movement is very powerful. And I was telling Deborah the other day, I said, I think it'd be really cool if, when you work with the kids, like to say, what does that word look and feel like in your body, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, what does magic feel like in your body? If you were to act it out, what does that look like for you?
It's like sparkles.
Yeah, I love that, sparkles. Well, and when you see those sparkles, what color are those sparkles?
Gold, for sure. Gold
For sure,
sparkles.
gold. Why
Yes.
gold?
I don't know. It's like, the sky and the stars. Like
Yeah.
the golden.
Oh.
It's, I don't know. It has something magical, that color gold. And also, don't forget it. It's the most valuable metal that there is on Earth.
It is.
It's gold.
It
so
is.
I guess the magic is also part of being unique.
Yeah.
That's why gold is so powerful and so valuable, is because it's so unique.
So
and I
unique.
think we're all unique as well.
We are all unique. I believe that so much so. Okay, so we talked about magic. We talked about your show. Where can people see your show? Oh, wait, hold on. We got Deborah. What would you like to talk about?
I said I wanted Fatou to talk about how we met and
Oh, yes.
how we bonded. Actually, that's something that I'd love to start with.
Okay, great. How did you meet the lovely Deborah Sawaf?
I met her through another friend called Shelley Ellis, and she created the female cushions.
Oh,
And
cool.
yes,
Very
that's very
cool.
cool.
Very cool. Okay.
So I attended one of Shelley's events,
Uh-huh.
and lucky me, met Deborah. So she was also attending the same event.
Yeah.
And we bonded, if I remember well, please correct me if I'm wrong, over fashion. So we were talking about fashion and culture.
Nice.
And then we started like pulling the thread of heritage and culture, and also we both come from different cultures. We're both a merger of multiple cultures, and we love, we both love, I think there is a vibration.
You both love what?
So we both love the fact that cultures is what's creating magic.
Yeah.
The fact that we are lucky enough today to live in a world where we are receiving those multiple cultures, receiving what's left of it. So for example, I recently went to Scotland,
Yes.
and I'm seeing your hat.
Yeah.
And somebody told me the story of those tartans.
Really?
And
Tell me the
importance
story of tartan.
tartans.
I don't even know. Charlotte's wearing tartan. I'm wearing tartan.
Yes,
and I don't
you
even
both
know.
are
I don't even
wearing
know.
tartan.
Tell us about tartan.
Well, what I love about it, it's about community. So the goal of tartan, it was created to recognize which clan you're part of. So which tribe is your tribe.
Yes.
And just knowing that, it's something that you can see in many other countries. How do you recognize people that belong to the same community? Maybe they
Yes.
speak the same language, they wear the same clothes.
Yes.
So all of those cultural elements are so strong, so powerful. And I think we need to harness them, to preserve them. And that's something that bonded us with Deborah, is knowing that we both have a passion for cultures and preserving them.
Well, I have a passion for continuing the community and uniting people. Deborah is here, so I'm going to step off the stage and let her take over.
Well, I'm here, finally. Fatou, thank you for waiting for me. Michelle, thank you for filling in. And, well, thank you, President Biden, for having us wait 40 minutes on the street in our cars with places to go. But I'm so happy to be here and have you in LA, first of all. We've met in Paris, in the south of France, and now in LA. So welcome to LA. And I just wanted to start talking about how we connected on, so many amazing things that we feel parallel about, and things that we haven't launched yet, but we worked on last year. So I just want to go into what made you see the connection that we could have and things that we could do together. I know what did it for me. I'm curious as to what did it for you, because, to meet someone at a dinner and then to be able to connect, create something amazing together. And now you're here, and whatever we do or end up doing with the power of words together is a whole other journey. What brought you, what was it for you?
I think when we met, what I remember from meeting you is that we shared a common passion for people, for humans. And the way I would describe it is I could feel that what was making you happy, what would make you wake up in the morning is feeling that people around you are happy and fulfilled. And I also felt that came through culture. So I could guess that you had a very clear sense of how cultures are important for the world we live in, for you as a person, but also for the society. And that's something that clearly bonded us. Like, I love understanding culture, discovering new culture, tasting new culture, speaking different languages, because that's what is connecting all of us as humans. And I think we have both a passion for fashion.
A passion for fashion, that's for sure. I think that was one of the connections, but just connecting with you as a person and your vision and what you do with different cultures, and how you allow cultures to express themselves through the TV show, which is so powerful, bringing that to people, because our industry is something that people look at an end product and say, oh, wow, but there are 1,000 steps or thousands of steps that lead to this, or a simple pair of jeans. Like, so much goes into the creation of a product that people don't see. And I love that you're showing that to the world through the TV channel and through the program that you do.
Thank you. I really believe that if you don't see something, you may not understand it, or you may not see the value. And I think in the world we live in today, we need to understand the value of everything we do or have. And clothes is such a big part of who we are as a society, but we need to understand it better. We need to understand what is cotton, what is linen, what's the difference? How do you make an embroidery? What technique are you using? How long does it take to actually do it? That's what makes me thrive.
And I think it's not just, to me, it's not just the embroidery and the technique. Why do you use that technique? Why do you use that thread? Exactly. Why does the color appear more in, the reds, and the oranges appear more in Africa and in India? Yes. What is the significance? What brings those colors to the culture? And there's so many stories to be told through that. I'm, really excited to have you on board with the power of words and be an ambassador for the power of words as well. And what do you think? What is your vision, and what do you see yourself doing with the power of words?
I think we all need to hear about the power of words. As you're saying it, it's the power of words. Words do have power. And until we all understand that, we may not value as much the word that we're using. We've been talking about the fact that, in the morning, if you give yourself some affirmative words, that's going to help you have a brighter day. Like, for example, you wake up and you say, today I'm going to be successful. Today I'm going to speak out. Today I'm going to thrive. And this is going to be the mood, the emotion that you're going to go through during the day. I believe that words have power. That's why for me, it's really important that I can share about what I know. But I'm lucky enough to know power of words. So now I'm lucky. I have this responsibility to share it with the world. The power of words is also sharing about mental health in a very accessible way, making it accessible for everyone, and also giving the opportunity for everyone to talk about it, to talk about them, to talk about their emotions. I'm someone who's not comfortable talking about emotions, honestly. But since I know my words have power, then I have a responsibility to share my emotions.
I love that. I love that you say that you have the responsibility to share your emotions. And when you share your emotions, you're also paying attention to the emotions of others. But, sharing that emotion also focuses you and helps you go through the day realizing that you've put something out there, you've manifested something, and now you need to make that happen. But I love that you use the way you use the word responsibility, that you feel responsible to share, because through that you can also create change.
Exactly. I think that's what creates change, is to be aware, to have the conscience that you can create the change and believe it.
Yes, and believe it. And what I love, and something that for every time we get together, we come up with a new concept and a new idea. And now with you traveling to Africa, you're now going to India, and I'm so excited, and I'm disappointed at the same time that I'm not able to go with you, because that's something I would love to do. But we will make this trip to India together, because we have to start the project that we started. And, I think that's one of the places that will give birth to the House of Heritage. So I can't wait to talk about that when we're ready. But for now, what's your journey? Where are you going to in India? Where are you going to in India? And what's your next steps after India? What are the other countries you're looking to visit?
So in India, I'm going to travel to Rajasthan. And there, I really look forward to meeting so many artisans, craftsmen, craftswomen.
The heart, and yes.
And like, for example, I'm meeting a family, so the dad and the son, and they both do block printing.
Amazing.
And I've never done block printing, so I've heard about it, I've seen it online, but I've never experienced it myself. So I really look forward to that, to learning their trade, but also to understanding, like you were saying, like, why those motifs that they're using? How did they learn it? Exactly. Where do they come from? What's the history? What's the power of those prints? Because we say power of words, but there's also power of prints, right?
Yeah.
So I look forward to that for sure. And then after India, what's next? I look forward to traveling to colder places. I hate cold, but I'm very intrigued by Lapland.
Tell me about Lapland.
That's northern Norway and northern Finland. It's called Lapland. It's where the Santa Claus comes from.
That's right.
So I look forward to visiting him and understanding again, what are the cultures from those countries that are so cold? How do they live? How do they how do they survive so many centuries? What were the secrets in terms of fashion?
We did 2 weeks. We drove through Norway for 2 weeks, from up north, extreme up north in Norway, all the way down to Oslo. And it is one of the most fascinating and most beautiful countries. It's God's land. You don't see a lot of people in the first place, but it is the land of millions of waterfalls. I would say 1 million waterfalls, but it's millions of waterfalls. And I mean, everything about it. The food is incredible. For somebody who has such a diverse palate, I could eat everything everywhere, and everything is truly farm to table. I don't believe they freeze anything. Everything is fresh. But what impressed me is the flavors. I didn't expect, up north in Norway, you would imagine the food was really bland, but the food is actually really flavorful. I mean, I'm so excited for you to go. I've got friends in Norway that I want to introduce you to when you do that. And it is one of the most fascinating countries I've been to. So I'm excited for you to do that.
Oh my God, I'm even more excited now.
Yeah, you're going to love it. It's very unique. I mean, when I looked at some of the terrain that we drove through, it was like, out of Star Wars. It was like another planet. So every hour you're in a completely different terrain, and it was mind-blowing. It was a family trip. We drove everywhere. We stayed in a different city, in a different little town, every 2 days, and sometimes every day.
Wow, it's incredible. You have to share more about your trip later.
Absolutely. And I do want to do a talk with you when you come back from India, and we can share, and maybe visually, some of the things that you've done and some of the things that you've actually learned. What's next for you? What are you looking to do, after India and Lapland, outside of the television show? What's important to you?
Well, there is one word that's very important to me.
Does it fit into my 7 buckets?
Well, actually, I think it's a summary of the 7 buckets.
Okay.
It's the word equity. So equitable, equity, not equality.
Yes.
And most people confuse
equity.
Terms.
Yes.
Equity is really about understanding that everybody is diverse. Yeah. Everybody have different conditions.
I love that. Yes.
So we have to
actually
treat everybody differently, and that's completely okay. So the word equity for me is really important because I think that's where the world should go. We live in a world with so many inequalities, so we have to cater better to the weaker population and make sure that they are the same chance
They've
same
given the
opportunity.
same opportunities.
Exactly, to thrive. So that's a really important word for me. So I built a consulting firm around that word. So now I'm looking forward to growing my company by helping more and more companies improve their culture internally for a more equitable society.
Oh, I love that. That is amazing. And while you're in India, I think I would love for you to go and meet with some of the kids at the schools that we worked with and we met with, and talk about what you're doing and share that you're going to bring back to the West. It's so important. When I saw those kids in India, my kids have amazing opportunity here in the States. But the drive and the passion and the curiosity and the ambition that these kids have is beyond.
And
they deserve the chance, and they deserve the opportunity to succeed.
Yes, I look forward to sharing with you about the trip because I'm sure we're going to have so many things
so many things
to discuss.
So many things. You are such a special human being, Fatou. I love having you here. I love having you in LA. I'm sorry we didn't get to spend much time together because...
Nor did we get the good weather.
No. Somehow you Europeans tend to bring this kind of weather with you.
Is this us?
Very much. But thank you. Is there something you'd like to say before you go?
Yes, I want to say well done and thank you so much for everything you're creating and building. We need the power of words in this world. So thank you for bringing it to the world.
No, thank you. And I love you, and such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you everyone for listening in, and can't wait to share more of what we do with Fatou. Thank you to Studio Place for having us. You guys are always so generous. Thank you for waiting for me for 45 minutes. I love you all.
Thank you.